Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Uh, Thanks for coming, Brian, to sales office hours. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I got terrible allergies today. I'm drinking some tea, hoping it helps.
Oh, yeah, I see. All right. Um, yeah, looks like it's just us. So, you have a question, I believe, or a few questions? Do you wanna verbalize?
Yeah, I'm covering for who is it? Subashi's, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm covering for Subashi's while he's out of the office, and he's been doing our sales work, and I haven't really been studying sales yet, so I don't know much about how it works.
Uh-huh.
Um,
That's okay.
yeah, the part about the components seems pretty clear. Um, what I'm still wondering about is what happens with the database tables when we move in org. Uh, like what we're trying to figure out right now is how to classify a couple of these tables, and
Mhm.
the tables are basically shared across the instance. So having them I think having them cell local would be fine if the cell has its own sidekick, which it does.
Yes.
Uh, but I'm really just wondering what happens to the data when a cell moves. Like if the if the cluster wide what's it called? Cell local cluster wide, something like that.
So the cell local tables or the cluster white tables. So just to kind of give some uh, context, is there an example of one of these tables you're thinking of? Which one?
Yeah, if component.
S-bond components. Okay. Okay.
So
I think I was looking at the columns of that one. So it's got component type, name, po type, looks like an identifier, source package name, which is a free string text. Okay. Okay. I see. Uh, and where does the data from this come from? Does the user enter it through a form or something else?
we ingest it through the pipeline. So uh when a pipeline has in a software bill of materials in SBOM, uh, we we parse that and we store all the information from it, and so each component represents like a basically a dependency that was used in to produce the software. So
Okay.
for example, Rails could be considered a software component,
Hmm.
and it's a component of GitLab, right?
All right.
And And so the components table is shared across the instance so that we don't duplicate the data for every single project.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. So when you say pipeline, you mean CI pipeline, right?
yeah, it like when a CI pipeline completes, if it
Yes.
had one of these reports in the job artifacts, then we process it and we store the data in the database. And
Mm,
we create records if they don't exist.
mm,
But if they already exist, then we don't do anything.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So and there's a few ways you can solve this then. Um, you could make it so local, and because and because it comes from a CI pipeline, which is project based, you can have a sharding key of a project, or even organization if you want to, share that uh, data, say among projects that belong to that namespace or organization. Because maybe let's say not every project uses Rails, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that you can make it cluster wide, but then you need to find a way to kind of make it work. The biggest thing is the IDs. The biggest thing is the IDs. So how do I say this? If your SBOM your SBOM component will have a primary ID, right? Primary key, like ID1 or something. And then if anything refers to that ID, then anything cell local, if anything cell local refers to the ID, say I don't know, CI pipeline has a reference to the ID, then there's going to be issue when we move the data to another cell. So the basic principle is that we only move data related to our organization, and
Okay.
cluster-wide data we won't move. Like it doesn't get moved. But by definition, like we don't know what that is. So, but cluster-wide data in theory will get replicated to all cells, either all the rows or some of the rows, right? So, it's easy to do for say a table like application settings where there's only say 500 rows. Actually, there's only one row, so it's very easy to replicate to all cells like a broadcast type cell. For users, it's going to be interesting. We're going to replicate like the relevant rows, but that's sort of more like logical replication in that sense. Uh, in the sense of S1 components, the roadblock I understand is that for making it cluster wide is that it gets written to very often. So it makes
Yeah.
replication really hard, like to try and replicate it to all things because it can never catch up, as in like it needs to replicate from one place.
Oh, so
Yeah.
the cluster wide is really like we're really replicating that data to all the different cells.
That's kind of the idea. How it does it is going to be table dependent. Some tables will have a very simple way of verification. Some tables will have more complicated ways. But that's what cluster wide means. And we're gonna have to work with every single team that owns a cluster wide
Yeah.
table to figure out. So that's why we want to limit the number of cluster wide tables. Um,
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's
well,
too much.
based on what you told me, it seems very clear to me that we need to do sharding based on the organization ID. Um, we have foreign keys to the components, and so if we're not migrating those when an organization moves cells, then that's not gonna work. So we're gonna have to add a sharding key. Um, but yeah, like we have this vulnerability scanning, and the way it works is like it looks for a component that has a vulnerability. So suppose you find a vulnerability in like Rails at this specific version, then we look for the component version and then we file that foreign key to all the different SBOM occurrences and create vulnerabilities.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we're gonna have to have a sharding key in order for that to work.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in a sense, it's slightly denormalized, but that's okay. As I said, different organizations will use different software. So it's okay to be slightly duplicated. It's not going to be
Yeah.
100% duplication. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, each cell will have a separate database, right? So to
Yes.
me, that seems totally fine that if each database uh has its own table of this data.
Yes.
Like the whole
Yes.
table is not that big.
Hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, but you just update it a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like well, I mean, it has a lot of rows, but it doesn't use a lot of storage.
Mm. Okay. Not like CI pipelines. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. It's the foreign key references. That's yeah. Because you can imagine like you don't want a foreign key, like you don't want SBOM component ID one to mean one thing in one cell and then mean another thing in a different cell, right? Yeah, it wouldn't work. To the user, it would be like, I thought this was Rails, but why did it change to Python? I don't know, Django. Strangely, right? Because we had the order wrong. Yeah, where the ID is wrong. So yeah, that's what's happening there. Um, the org mover is going to be cells 1.5, and I've added a link to the org mover. But there's something we need to think about now so that we don't have data corruption problems like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Uh, is there anything else? Do you have any
No,
more
that's it.
questions?
I don't have any other questions. I think I have what I need. Uh,
Cool. Cool.
Thank you.
All right. No problem.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I'll let you go then. Thanks
Yeah.
for your help. Talk
All
to you
right.
later.
Thanks, Brian. I see Ethan has joined. Do you have anything, Ethan?
No, I don't have any question. I just I want to dial in and listen.
Ah, cool. Awesome. Yeah, we only had one topic today, so yeah. Let's see. There's no one's asking on Slack either. Okay, cool. So if there's no more topics, that's we'll call it the end. Yeah, cool. Thanks everyone for coming. All right, bye.